Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Double honors being to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, whole fool. Let us perish not this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. To all you I come, I do say Shalom. I'm coming in with a lesson, going into textbook PDF, going into early American civilizations, and it's going to the Aztec and Inca, so the Northern Kingdom, which you look into the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, around verse 45 or so on, and goes into that tell what happens to the Northern Kingdom after being exiled into Assyria. They came to Sareth, which is now known as modern-day Americas. But I want to read something here. It's entitled, "The Aztec Predict the Coming of the Spanish," and it reads, "The following is an excerpt from the 16th century referring to the years leading up to the year 1600, so I believe it was the 1500s. So it reads, 16th century Florentine Codex of the writings of Fray Bernardino de Sahagún, a priest and early chronicler of Aztec history," which, a little bit more history, that term Aztec is the Spanish label put upon certain sub-tribes, those being the Mexica, the Alcohua, and the Tlapanec. But ultimately, that's just all Issachar. And a reason to say, when old men from Xochimilco, and the X is not pronounced with the H sound, so it would be Xochimilco, but you look at Old Castilian as well as Old Nahuatl languages, and it was really pronounced with the sh sound, so it would be Xochimilco. When an old man from Xochimilco first saw the Spanish in Veracruz, he recounted an earlier dream to Moctezuma, the ruler of the Aztecs. Said Gusatli to the sovereign, "O mighty lord, if because I tell you the truth I am to die, nevertheless I am here in your presence, and you may do what you wish to me." He narrated that mounted men would come to this land in a great wooden house ship. This structure was to lodge many men, serving them as a home. Within they would eat and sleep. On the surface of this house they would cook their food, walk, and play as if they were on firm land. They were to be white, bearded men, dressed in the different colors, and on their heads they would wear round coverings. So that's spiritual off the bat, because that just implies that Gusadi could have either been a prophet, previous incarnation of a prophet currently on the scene or in the spirit world, or that was just an old man that received visions from Yahweh Bashmi was shy, because what he said was spiritual, man. Alright, so this is the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, and verse 28. It does make the mention now, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." Now, when it goes into daughter shall prophesy, we know that when it goes into a prophetess, it refers to a woman that's married to a prophet, or a woman that has spiritual dreams, because we understand that a woman is not on the same level, the same status, or the same rank as a man, right? You are the weaker vessel, and the scriptures go into how the order is the head of every woman is a man. And also the apostle Paul made the mention, "How I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man." So the progressive idea that you have women pastors that have been so-called sanctified from the Lord, that's literally BS, because it's not scriptural. We're supposed to base off everything on scriptures. You look at modern-day Christianity, or really the history of Christianity after the early church in the apostolic age, started bugging out. Right? When it became a state religion, started bugging out, started, adding pagan customs to this thing. So really Christianity is bugged out, But really, digressing back, that's for another topic. Daughter shall prophesy, referring to, the wives of the prophets and women that have spiritual dreams and that have spiritual blessings as well. Your old man shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. So Gusali is an old man that, dreamt the dream. And it was a spiritual dream. It was a vision, because he saw what was to come before the invasion of the Spanish. He dreamt of the Spanish before the invasion of the Spanish, man. And a reason to say, mounted men would come to this land in a great wooden house ship. Alright, this structure was to lodge many men, serving them as a home. Within they would eat and sleep. On the surface of this house, they would cook their food, walk and play as if they were on firm land. Now, after that just goes to show you how Jake lost knowledge on seafaring ships. All right, because we know that over generation upon generation, when something is not taught, that's when something tends to dwindle and disappear from their history, from their culture. Right, the idea that you're an Israelite, that literally was stripped away from modern day Jake, man, and it's only given to some to come back to the understanding and that come back to their heritage, right? Their religion, which is serve how about shine through the will, their history. A lot of that's been stripped away from, Salakia, modern day Jake. So just like that, you had the knowledge of seafaring ships, disappear, as information. Either they lacked resources to build seafaring ships, or, we don't know, because when you look at the ships that they did have, it was just like rafts and canoes. They would use those ships, or canoes or rafts, those sea vessels, for trade purposes. So they would travel short distances, and they would only use that for a job, which is trade beans or whatever. So the idea for Gusali to see a huge seafaring ship like in the old world, it was an astonishing thing, right? Because he made the mention, this structure was a large many men. He had to describe it. He had to describe it to Moctezuma what it was, So he made the mention they were to be white bearded Salakia. They were to be white bearded men. Now, obviously, we know that the Spanish is a so-called white man. He's not really white. He's really red. Because going back to the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, verse 25, correct me if I'm wrong, it makes mention how Esau came out red. Right? When Esau sweats, or when Esau gets sunburned, you see him get red because he lacks pigmentation. So his blood is see-through. Whereas the other nations, hey, they have melanin, man. That's where you see the Aborigines, so-called Aborigines, so-called Chinese. A lot of them are dark-skinned, man. Even Ammon, and Ammon's like one of the most palest looking dudes on the planet right now. But a lot of them are still dark-skinned. Esau's the only one who ain't, unless he's a goddamn terror. Because there's a lot of so-called, Israelite-looking men. There's a lot of Israelite-looking men. Those are really Edomites, man. So-called dark-skinned are really, some of the so-called dark-skinned are really Edomites, right? But a reason to say, and you look at the paintings of one of the Spanish conquistadores, or the Spanish invasion, and they're dressed up in different colors, right? Some have purple undershirts, some have green undershirts, some have red pants, others have black pants, others have gray leggings, others have white leggings. They're all rocking different colors, but they're all wearing armor over. So Gusali made the mention, white bearded men dressed in different colors, and on their heads they would wear round coverings. And you look at that, their helmets, it was round and sharp. That's the Morian hat. You do your research on that. That's the Morian hat. So I'm on the Wikipedia, and it reads, a Morian is a type of open-faced combat helmet originally from Spain, used from the beginning of the 16th century to the early 17th century. The Morian usually had a flat brim and a crest running from front to back. Its introduction was contemporaneous with European exploration in much of North, Central, and South America. Explorers such as Hernando de Soto and Coronado may have supplied Morians to their foot soldiers in the 1540s. So the Morian helmet was what Gusali saw in his vision. All right. So, hey man, that's spiritual, man. That was definitely a vision from Yahweh Shemel Shai. But it reads on to say, 10 years before the arrival of the Spanish, Moctezuma received the several omens, which at the time he could not interpret. And we understand that a lot of the signs that you see on a day-to-day basis, those are really spiritual, man. So I'm gonna pull out the book of 1 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, verse 14. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of power, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Right? Like singing 144. Right? Hey, Jake just think it's 144, but look at the elect, and they know what that means, man. 444. Or what's it called? Something may go down, and a letter 4 pops out. We know 4 represents mercy. Right? Signs like that. Signs in the sky. Signs in your day-to-day basis, like in a car or something. You have an interaction with somebody and it ends up in a positive manner. You can spiritually discern off the bat. Those are all signs that the elect have, whereas the natural man, just random Jake, they wouldn't be able to interpret these things. And it goes on a list on the omens that they saw. A fiery object appeared in the night sky. Now that was a chariot above Lake Texcoco, because now, Lake Texcoco is an extinct lake because Mexico City sits atop of it. But that's why Mexico City is constantly sinking, because this is really atop a freaking lake. But that reminds me of the book of Exodus, the 13th chapter, verse 21, and it reads, "And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people." So, hey, the people that they saw a chariot, man. A spontaneous fire broke out in a religious temple and could not be extinguished with water. Now, if there's any significance I could find from that, your guys wouldn't be able to help you. They didn't help you. Quetzalcoatl didn't help you. All those, false gods, they hadn't help you. And even modern times, your false gods wouldn't be able to help you. Screw Buddha. He ain't gonna do crap. He ain't gonna come down here with, your Hindu guys are gonna come down here with freaking laser powers, freaking, lasering one another. No. They're gonna do nothing because they're false. They're fake. They're inanimate. They're non-existent. Right? But the reason to say a water spout appeared in Lake Texcoco, which when you look at the word water spout, it really goes into great floods. And, floods, well, that reminds me of the book of Isaiah, the 59th chapter, verse 19, going to how the enemy shall come on like a flood. Right? And that's exactly what happened, because you had the Spanish with Hernan Cortez. They literally came in as a flood and besieged the city of Tenochtitlan. Right? But you could also apply it to the migrations, all the recorded migrations in Mexico, with a lot of Ishmael, a lot of Ammon, a lot of Moab, a lot of the heathen nations, the whole nine. They all migrated to Mexico, right? Which, some of them could be speckled birds. Some of them, you could have an Ishmaelite-looking dude who lives in the Issachar, and this, it's the Spirit's on him to go back to Mexico to be with this people, with this tribe. So some of them could be speckled birds, but most of them are just heathen nations, man. So that you could refer to the floods as the heathen nations, because even the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, it goes on to break down the understanding of the waters which the Apostle John saw, and the waters were broken down to be peoples, multitudes of peoples. So you could apply the water spout to people. And right here makes a mention, and a woman could be heard wailing, "Oh, my children, we are about to go forever." Now that was also significant, because it reminded me of what Jeremiah spoke about, seeing Rachel weeping for her children, which was fulfilled back in when Yahushua was first born. Right, in the city of Bethlehem, we had King Herod. He slew, the babies from 2 years under. I read that in the book of Matthew, the 2nd chapter, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wrath. Yeah, because, they had the vision that he was he had bad intentions. He was going to slay Yahushua, the true king of the Jews. So they just dipped down. They didn't report back on their findings. So he was exceeding wrath. Wrath being an archaic term for the word wrath and angry. And sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. But it was all for naught, because, Yahushua was already dipped out with, Joseph and Mary when Joseph had the vision of, what was to come. So they all dipped out of Egypt, and that was the prophecy going to, out of Egypt have I called my son. Right? But verse 17 goes on to say, they must fulfill that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not. Right, so I wanted to apply that similarity to this piece of the PDF, where it goes into how a woman was heard wailing, children were about to go forever. So that was definitely spiritual, man. And just like how you had Southern Kingdom babies die back when Herod executed the 2 years old and younger, and you had a lot of Issachar babies die too, right? Because when the land was besieged, you had a lot of babies, die of famine. Some of them drowned. And when the Spanish finally broke through, Esau was like a madman sparing none. So they slew both old and young, both women and children. And both women and children, they slew babies, man. A lot of babies died from disease, drowning, the sword, etc. So all my children, we're about to go forever. That was definitely spiritual as well. Moctezuma also had dreams and premonitions of impending disaster. These foretellings were recorded after the Aztec destruction. They do, however, give us insight into the importance placed upon signs and omens in the pre-Columbian world, which not pre-Columbian world, but really the importance placed upon signs and omens in the Israelite world, because we understand that Jake is a spiritual people. They're people desirous of a truth, understanding. They're all seeking for a truth, But going back to Romans 11th chapter, verse 7, it reads, well then, Israel had not taken that which he seeketh for. Right? So these 2/3, though they may be trying to look for, understanding on a certain circumstance, certain situation, they won't be able to find it because it's not for them. Right? But the election hath attained it, and the rest were blinded. Right? Yeah, I wish I even made the mention how unto you it is given to the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. So Jake can't break down these precepts. They can't break down these signs. They can't break down anything except for, the Lord's elect. Those are the people whom he has divinely inspired. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which, we understand is a form of spiritual power. It's a precursor in this day and age to the power that's to come very soon. And reason to say, according as it is written, Yahweh hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day, 2024 AD, CE. Right? So, Jake is a spiritual, the nation of Israel is a spiritual people, man. I just want to do a quick little lesson on this, go into the similarities and how have. With that being said, this is most edifying. To the next one, I'll do say shalom.